Today we're going to try something a little bit different. I've learned some things. So first things first, adjust the hitch. I drop all of it. A little safer than sorry, I guess. Still have plenty of room. We'll get hooked up and figure out all the weights now. What's your pin weight? I've been asked this for 2 years. All right, guys, so I've been talking, and you've heard me talk about air pressure. You've heard me talk about my camper sitting a little bit nose high and all the things. Today is the day that I'm gonna adjust my hitch. I'm gonna lower the nose of my camper just a set of holes, which is about an inch, inch and a half. Now, one thing you gotta pay attention to, and I measured this before I unhooked, so I had nearly 9 inches of space from the bottom of the camper to the top of the bed rail. So you wanna make sure if you're adjusting your hitch that you have like 6.5, 7 inches of space. So I did measure it today, make sure that it was good. And so I'm gonna adjust this hitch real quick, and then we're gonna run down to the closest set of cat scales, which are generally at truck stops, which is about 22 miles from here down in Franklin, Kentucky. And we're gonna weigh this thing. When I did my pre-trip video and we were airing up our air pressure tires, took it to 110, which was the max, and that is 100% okay to do. You don't have to weigh your camper if you don't want to, but if you don't weigh your camper, then you should highly recommend put as much air in the tires as it says on the side of the tire wall. But today we're gonna try something a little bit different. I've learned some things, I've had some conversations, and you're gonna see what we get into. So first things first, adjust the hitch. So I've already loosened some of these up and getting ready to do this, and I didn't wanna make you guys suffer through me out here with an impact and a microphone right underneath my shirt and how loud that's going to be. We're going to get these bolts out. Make sure you have your pins in so you don't drop these on your safety approved work shoes. So make sure you don't smash your little piggies, because that would hurt. I've got 2 bolts still tight on this side, 2 bolts tight on the other side, and then I'll take this guy loose. I should be able just to rock it up a set of holes and not actually drop the hitch. Now if I have to drop the hitch, it's not a big deal. We'll just use the jacks on the camper to do that part. And that's why I got the cardboard sitting underneath the front of the hitch. I drop all of it. Oh, it ain't going nowhere, it's sitting on them pins. All right, did we get enough? All right, need one of them to come out. Which one wants to come out? Not that one. Well, I might be able to get a bolt in right here. Just gonna do this. Let's quit working so hard. Come on. Yeah, so I put a bolt in. I'm kind of just lining these holes up. And so I put a bolt in there, and I should be able to pull my pins out and just shove it up a hole in the front. And that should be it. All right, so I'm back in that hole there. I just really wanted to make sure that wasn't digging into my tailgate. So I went up a set of holes. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm just gonna, since I'm in these 2 holes here, I should be able to just let it down till the holes line up. And I just wanna make sure I'm not digging into my tailgate. Once I get close, I can just get them in there with a sponge bar, like so. Close enough. We're just going to reassemble. Don't want to break my assembly. Let it down just a hair more. Yeah, this will work right here. So now I can kind of start reassembling. Now, one thing I will do, if you look here at my bolts, is I put the paint lines on them from when I put them on, so I'm just gonna take them, go to the clean side, flip them over, and then I'll just match up the paint lines with the other side. Big reason why I wanted to kind of show you guys this is because a lot of people will never adjust their hitch, which if you don't want to or don't need to, that's totally fine. But it's not that daunting of a task. I came out of there, you should go back in there. So the reason I ran that one there in is because on that particular bolt hole, it was trying to pull the washer. It was trying to bend the bottom of the washer because it sits up against this lip. So this will put all 6 bolts in order. And honestly, I might go pick up another bolt, put it in there because, you know, it could be a little safer than sorry, I guess. I got a hole, might as well put a bolt in it. So I'm gonna repeat this They're just in there. I haven't done anything yet. They're just sitting in there. I'm gonna run the other bolts in, and then we'll put a little thread locker on them. And one thing, if you do adjust your hitch, make sure you use new lock washers. Now, the old lock washers are probably fine, but because I have probably in that sentence, make sure you adjust them. So, or get new ones, and they're not expensive. They're like $3. All right, I'm gonna put the other sides. So Valerie just asked me a question, and basically she was saying, what does all this have to do with your axle weight? And that's what we're getting. We're going for your axle weight. And so when you think of your camper, if you're level and you've got axles sitting in the camper's dead level and you got your axles underneath your camper, then the weight is evenly dispersed upon those two axles. But essentially it's like a teeter-totter. If you're from up north, or like we say in the south, it's a seesaw. So if your camper is nose high, that puts more weight on your back axle. If you get too high there, it makes your trailer want to sway like this. And if your nose heavy, it puts axle weight on the front axle, and also makes it not tow as great, but it makes the back of your camper ride a little rougher. So what we're trying to do is get this joker level as possible. And if I'm gonna have it anyway, I'd be just a touch nose low, and it should make it pull better. But honestly, this thing pulls fine. So, but it's more about just getting the weight just distributed on your axles like they should be. So I'm just kind of putting these together one at a time, like my lock washers on, and then I'll put thread locker on them. Use blue thread locker, don't use the red, because you might want to take it apart sometime. And so this should.
Is red permanent?
Pretty much. It's
blue's like an ink pen, red's like a Sharpie?
Yes, that's one way to, hadn't thought about it that way, but there you go. It's thread locker, and just put a little in your threads. That's all I'm doing. And that way, when that nut runs up on it, it gets it in the nuts, in the threads. So look, I'm gonna show y'all something. I went and picked up a transmission for the old dually yesterday. Not yesterday, one day last week. And I got grease here. Just right after I've about got that grease stain washed out of the back. So this shirt was about to make it back to the good shirt pile. Now it's gotta stay in the work shirt pile for a little bit. So I'm just gonna snug these down and kind of like an X pattern. So I'll do this one, this one, this one, this one, and then these two in the middle. Then I'll repeat the process on the same side. Other side. Guys, I have said this time and time again. A good torque, like this is a Icon, which I didn't realize until the other day, is a hobo freight special or harbor freight. I mean, if you don't have anything else in your toolbox, have a good torque wrench. Or a torque wrench, I'm sorry. I keep using the word good like mine's good. I mean, you use it for your wheels, your hitches. It's just, keep one in your camper toolbox. Gen Y says to torque these things to 160 foot-pound. So, and when you hear it pop like it, that's when you know it's tight. And I got them pretty tight with the impact. Come on. If you look on the dial here, see it says 0 and I'm at the 160 mark. So I can take it to like.
If you have good eyes.
I know, I'm surprised I didn't get my glasses out. And so they say drive about 50 miles, which is about what we'll do. Time we go weigh this thing. And then when we get back, I'll torque them one more time. So guys, I know I've talked about my road ready logbook. This is a good place where you put numbers like these in. So you're like, my bolts on my hitch are 160 foot-pound. And if you have it written down somewhere that's handy, you don't have to wonder what it is. You get the little logbook we helped you put together to keep up with stuff like that. You can print it, throw it in your glove box, throw it in your camper, put it in your toolbox, put it wherever. Just somewhere where you'll know where it's at. So one side down, one to go. I got my wrench stuck. I don't want to. Come on, get off her. This is the last one. Yeah. Just like that, she's tight. Now I'm gonna go weigh it, and I get to do that again. Awesome. When I bought my very first camper, Bob Toby told me to do that, and if it doesn't touch the bottom of your camper, it's about right. According to chat, it's about 6.5, 7 inches. I'm squinting because I got sweat in my eyes, so sorry. So we'll hook it up, see what it looks like, but we should be in pretty good shape. Hey, I want to give a big shout out and a thank you to Venture RV. Venture is today's sponsor of this video, and you know what? We've been in a couple of different products of theirs over the last few years, and we've been really impressed. I mean, this camper here behind me, I've only had it since like October. I don't even know when we bought it. I think October. But we've got about 10,000 miles on it so far. No major issues, so I can't really say anything bad about it. But honestly, you know, I had a big long conversation with them before we really got too far in deep with them. And the thing that really stood out to me about them is, even through COVID, when everybody was talking about the COVID campers, Venture never got real far out on their numbers. They just said, you know what, we can build this many campers a day. This is what we're going to do. Still put out as good of a product as we can put out, and we're not going to worry about overproducing and sending crappy campers out the door. We're just going to do what we're going to do. So that was one thing that really stood out to me. And another thing I liked about Venture is all their sales reps and their GMs, they all camp, and they camp in their product, which is really neat because you just never know, hey, this is a great floor plan, but does it work? So they go take them out and they go figure out how they work. Thank you to Venture, and I also want to give you a little bit of a teaser. There is a Venture rally that is being planned somewhere in the 2026 future, and they wanted me to kind of tell you guys about it. So keep up, make sure you subscribe in our emails, and we'll send you out a link. Also watch the Venture website because there'll be information on that. So look them up on their socials. That will be coming out. It's not going to be a huge deal, and it's not going to be in Indiana. We're going to go somewhere cool. So just keep an eye out for that. This is not an impromptu wardrobe change. As I was hooking up, Valerie was so kind. She ran to the house. The skies opened up, and it poured down rain. So if my short, actually they've dried out a little bit, but I look like I'd been in the pool. I mean, I got soaked. But anyway, so I was kind of concerned, and I did measure this, and I'll put a tape measure on it in a minute, about the height, because I did lower it quite a bit. But I still have plenty of room. So I measured, it's like 6.5, between 6.5, right at 6.5 inches. I don't know, I may not be setting like perfectly level, but I can already tell that I like the way the camper looks behind my truck better. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a kind of a premises for this. I've never weighed. I've been on hundreds of scales with semis before, but I've never been to a weigh station where you weigh each axle. So that's gonna be new for me. But I'm gonna give you the setup. My truck has roughly 3/4 tank of fuel, and the only thing I took out of this truck since the last camping trip were the floaties that were in it. So this is pretty much what's in our camper, how our camper travels. So if I put in the kayaks or something like that, that is going to give it a little bit of like weight difference, but it's not going to be anything massive. So, you know, maybe a couple 100 pounds, and that might be a stretch. So I just kind of didn't take anything out. What's in the camper, which pretty much what stays in the camper, and instead of weight, that gives us what I would call like a true weight. I'm really curious how much we weigh. Put it in the comments before this video, or before this part of the video. Tell me what you think we weigh. Camper weight, gross vehicle weight, because honestly I have no idea. So I got 5,000 pounds on my steer axle, 6,300 pound on my rear axle, 10,340 on my back axle, or on my trailer axles, and I gross at 21,760. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna back up and try to do this quickly, get out everybody's way, to unhook the camper right here in front of the scales, because there's not a good place around here to unhook it. So we're just going to do it right in front of the scales, and I won't be but a couple of minutes, so we can reweigh the truck, and then we'll know what our pin weight is. So now that I got this, and I got a guy behind me, we'll get hooked up and figure out all the weights now. Let me back up and get out of the semi's way, and we'll get hitched up, and then we'll do some math here. Now we know our weights. So now that we know our weights, we now know where our air pressure can be. I was dead on the front to back. I was just not dead in the middle. I feel like I'm still not dead in the middle. Fuck. Now that I got an audience, I'm all frazzled. Alright, that was stressful. Let's go see something new for Valerie. It's just, that's a weird way station to get into, because it's when you come off the exit, you're literally right on it. And so what we'll do is when we get home, we will print out our weight tickets, because I can print them at the house, and then we can do some math, and then we can look at our load index rating and see how much air pressure on these tires. So there's roughly 2,500 pound on each tire, because there's 10,000. If there's 10.2 on the camper, that's 5,000 on axle, 5,100. So I'll probably just set them for 12,000 pound on the camper, and that will give me kind of how to weigh my truck. And we're going to do something Valerie's never done before, and she's going to be patient. We are going to hit the truck wash, because that camper is filthy, and why not get it washed?
Looks like there's a line.
Yeah, it's not much of a line. There's somebody in there now, then we'll be next.
Okay, I have a question. Does the app save that info for you?
Mm-hmm.
Or did you have to screenshot it?
No, it saves it. So if you're going to be sitting in these newer diesels, it's hard on them to idle. They don't want you to idle because, I don't know, these new ones, they're too fancy to idle. They're too good to idle. So one thing you can do if you have a Dodge, and I don't know if the other ones will do it. If you turn your cruise on, cruise control ready, and hit your set button, that will bring you to a high idle, which will push your oil pressure up and keep your truck happier. It's better for the engine than to let it just idle out.
Ooh, fancy. You want to make this YouTube video real fun? We could roll down the windows.
$40 to wash your camper.
Hey, that ain't bad.
And then $30 to wash the truck. Just to wash it all.
When it's 100 degrees outside.
Mm-hmm.
This has been fun.
Has it?
Yes.
The look on her face as she said that.
Everything's exciting. Everything is awesome.
Well, when you have campers, it's like the little things that we're doing today will make it easier for us to get on the road Thursday. And now that we know our weights, and that's pretty important to know. I say that, although all these years, this is the first time I've ever weighed anything camper related. But I'm not as heavy as I thought I would be. My pin weight's heavier than I thought it would be. But we'll get into all that later. Okay, so you guys have asked me, what's your camper weigh? So we went down and we got it weighed. My truck empty. Front axle, 5,200 pound. Back axle, 3,680. Now to keep up with me, truck weighs, nothing hooked to it, three quarter tank of fuel, 8,880, 8,880 pounds. Loaded front axle, 5,040 pounds. Rear axle, 6,340 pounds. I'll tell you why that's important. Trailer weighs 10,340. I was actually surprised it didn't weigh more than that. I was a little bit shocked. So with a gross combined weight of 21,760. Now to get your pin weight, which everybody says, what's your pin weight? What's your pin weight? I've been asked this for 2 years. My pin weight, if you take the loaded rear axle at 6,340 and you minus the 3,680, which is the unloaded rear axle weight, 2,660. That's probably a little heavier than it was when I pulled it with my 3/4 ton, because I moved some stuff, bikes, bike rack, all that off the back of the camper, put it on the front of the camper, whatever. So just throwing that out there. Now let's talk about tire pressure and how that relates. And so I've really kind of like studied up and learned a lot about this the last little bit. So I'm gonna go with a 12,000 pound weight on my camper. I'm gonna set my tire pressure for 12,000 pounds. Gives me room to throw in some extra stuff like kayaks and a full tank of water if we want to boondock and all the other good stuff. So I'm giving myself a little bit of error for margin. So I have Maxxis tires, load rated G on my trailer, which is a 14 ply. So at 110 PSI, my tires are rated for 4,080 pounds each, which gives me a combined weight of 16,320. 6,000 pounds more than I got. So if you go on your tire manufacturer website and look up your specific tire, they generally have a tire load index rating, which tells you how much air pressure to run in your tire for how much weight you're carrying. Now, the only way that you can know this is if you weigh your trailer. Make sure you weigh your trailer. If you don't weigh your trailer, run them at whatever it says on the sidewall. Like mine would be 110 PSI, just to be safe. At 90 PSI, I can run 13.2 on my trailer. So I've got a chart, and I jotted these notes down, and they're not the best notes, so Just follow along with me. At 100 PSI, I can have 14,800 on this trailer, which has me overweight because I've only got 7,000 pound axles. So what I have decided to do is split the difference. I'm gonna go 95 PSI. Now the reason I say less than, it's 15 pound less than what it calls for, is because that will let my sidewalls flex a little more and make my trailer ride better. And you know, and these things get the snot beat out of them going down the road. So why not just take a little stress off of them and make them live a little longer and take a little PSI out of it. The big thing you don't want to do is if you let your air out, and again, I'm going to say this, I'm stressing this. If you haven't weighed your camper, run whatever the PSI is on the tire. If you don't know how to figure out your load index, take it to a trailer shop, tire shop, they will help you. If you can't find the information you're looking for, run the max PSI on the tire just to be safe. I'd rather you be safe than sorry. But whatever you do is when you let the air out of them, you don't want your sidewall to get a bag in it. So you know, your tire comes down, gets to the bottom, comes out like this. So when your tire rotates, the flat side of the tire up top gets to the bottom, now it's got a sag in it. And what it's doing is it's working your sidewall and flexing. And as that sidewall flexes and gets hot, that's how you have a blowout. So saying all that to say, weigh your trailer, look up your load index on your particular tire, and set your air pressure accordingly. If you don't want to take the time and the effort, because me and Valerie have been fooling with this about all day, run max air pressure on. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you've done it this way. And to the guy who told me I should be doing it this way about three videos ago when I argued with you, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, because guess what? I was told wrong. So now we know. And because of your comment, I have spent some time researching this to know that you were correct. So hope you're having a good day. Like and subscribe. See you on the next adventure.